Given that they are a window into a company's culture, some folks are naturally curious about what perks a company gives to its officers and directors. Perks, formerly known as perquisites, are special benefits that the executives get that the rest of the workforce doesn't, and confers some sort of personal benefit. To some extent, companies are required to disclose that annually in a proxy statement filed with the SEC and delivered to shareholders. How to dig out that disclosure? Today on Zippy Point.
Quick Zips by Zippy Point.
Quick and dirty. I'm Brock Romanek. I'm a big fan of yous. What do companies have to disclose about perks? Quite a bit in some cases. How do you find that out? Here are 10 things to know. 1. Perk disclosure is just for a company's named executive officers and also their directors, the members of the board of directors. So only the top 5 highly paid officers and thereabouts, those are the NEOs, and the board of directors are captured in that disclosure. 2. There will be no disclosure for an NEO, those are the named executive officers, or a director if their perks are less than $10,000. The SEC allows companies to omit officers and directors' perks if it's considered under this de minimis amount. 3, if the amount is more than $10,000 for an NEO, that's a named executive officer or director, then each perk, regardless of its amount, must be identified by type. Plus, if any perk exceeds the greater of $25,000 or 10% of the total amount of that person's perks, the perk must be quantified and then disclosed in a footnote to the particular table in the proxy. So if it's an NEO, it's the summary compensation table. If it's a director, it's going to be in the director's compensation table. Those are both in the proxy. So those are sort of the ground rules, the SEC's regulation about what needs to be disclosed. See my separate Vid-Guides about perks by going to zippypoint.com or searching YouTube with the hashtags of #perks, #zippypoint. There's one specifically that digs deeper into the definition of a perk, and that will help you better understand what is and isn't allowed to be considered one. 4, some perks simply aren't disclosable. The offices for the officers are bigger. They have nice plants in their office. They don't have to show their badge when they walk in the headquarters like the rest of the employee base. 5, find the company's latest proxy statement. That can be found in 2 places. The easiest place is the company's own website, and there you find the investor relations page. Occasionally the page is called something else. It might just be called investors, but typically it's called investor relations. 6, then you need to look around for something that says proxy statement. Occasionally companies don't set up their investor relations page in any kind of uniform manner. So you're not looking for the annual report. That's different than the proxy statement, even though the proxy statement is an annual document and it's sort of usually bundled with the annual report to be called something called proxy materials. But you're looking specifically for the proxy statement because that's where the executive pay disclosure is made. 7, sometimes the only option you have from a company's investor relations webpage is to click on SEC filings, a link that says that. And that will take you to a laundry list of the company's filings listed in chronological order. But you can filter those by type of filing. And so the company will usually have it listed under proxy statement or proxy filings or annual reports sometimes, and then you want to choose that. 8, if you get pushed into the company's filings as they look on the SEC's own website, you're now in the SEC's EDGAR database. And now you're using the harder way to find the company's proxy, but it's still doable. Now you're looking for something called a DEF 14A, a DEF 14A. This is an acronym for what the proxy statement's official name is in SEC speak, the definitive schedule 14A, EDGARs, but that's EDGAR. That's the SEC for you. The government, the gov. 9, anyway, you've made it. The easiest thing now is to look for the summary compensation table to find the perks given to the NEOs and the director's compensation table for the directors. And like I said, you're going to be looking a lot in the footnotes in that. So for the summary compensation table, you're going to look at the column that's second to the far right, just to the left of the total column, and that's called the all other compensation column. And then you're going to look at the footnotes. Same thing for the director's compensation table, second from the right, and then into the footnotes. Nice and juicy, right? 10, if you conduct a search of SEC filings on EDGAR for perks, you're going to most likely find that disclosure. If you use the search term personal benefits, you're going to find more success than if you use the word perks, because when companies make disclosure in their proxy statement, that's usually the terminology that they're going to use when they're drafting these things. Anyways, let me know if you have any problems. Drop me a line.